What if I told you Miranda Sings was always bad? By now, everyone on the internet has seen and every YouTuber has reacted to what was the worst apology video the internet has ever seen.
So I just wanted to say that the only thing I've ever groomed is my 2 Persian cats. I'm not a groomer. I'm just a loser.
And it was the worst apology video for a couple reasons. Number one, she didn't apologize, which if you're not going to apologize in an apology video, the other course of action you could take is refuting the claims that were brought against you, which the claims that were brought against her were that she was grooming children, and she didn't really do a good job or refute the claims at all. The claims still seem pretty legitimate, pretty sure that Miranda Sings, Colleen Ballinger, did do exactly what she has been accused of doing. So she didn't apologize, she didn't refute, and everyone has seen the video, everyone has reacted to the video. It is all over the internet. Even people who had, to that point, never heard of her, who had never heard of Colleen Ballinger, who had never heard of Miranda Sings, had no idea who she was, were now aware of her because of how terrible her apology video was. So, honestly, the worst PR nightmare you could have asked for. So I'm not gonna react to that video because everybody has. We've had commentary videos on the apology video. We've even had meta commentary videos on the commentary videos. Along the way, it kind of got a little self-indulgent. So I'm not gonna go back into the video. Everyone's seen it. Everyone's cringed along with it. It's no fun anymore. Following that apology video and that whole fiasco, it also came out that Colleen Ballinger was allegedly racist toward black people on set of her Netflix show, Haters Back Off. Now, a quick aside, I'm not really sure how you would make a show about Colleen Ballinger or the Miranda Sings character. To me, the Miranda Sings character is completely one-dimensional and, as we'll touch on a little bit in a few minutes, extremely problematic and just not funny at all. The character has no depth. The character has nothing to offer. The character has nothing except for saying words wrong, not knowing how to put lipstick on correctly, singing poorly, and spelling like one of the Chick-fil-A cows. That's all Miranda Sings has to offer as a character. Regardless, Netflix was offering her a show, and again, allegedly on the set of the show, she was being racist toward people on set. She allegedly said the N-word. There were multiple other allegations that came out. And all of this has led to her now canceling shows, a lot of people calling for herself to be canceled. Well, here's the thing about Miranda Sings and Colleen Ballinger in general. If you were around from 2010 to 2014, you were aware of multiple comedians who got their start on YouTube and whose videos reached a very niche audience, but a very loyal audience. So you had these pockets of people all over who were incredibly loyal to whatever YouTuber or comedian or entertainer that they had chosen for themselves or that they had decided represented them in some way. And for a lot of people, that was specifically the Miranda Sings character and not so much Colleen Ballinger. Because I remember for a time, people weren't really sure if it was a character because it was kind of that phase of the internet too. It was kind of like, anybody remember Ice JJ Fish? Something about the girl that just makes my head wanna twirl. Does anybody remember Froggy Fresh?
I have 400 scars and 400 guitars. I have 400 houses. I have 400 mouses and 400 houses.
Does anybody remember how people weren't sure if Froggy Fresh was a character? He definitely was. Or if Ice JJ Fish was a character? I still don't know. So yeah, there were these creators that were doing things that were intentionally bad, and it was a way for it to be funny, and there is a way for that to be funny. But I personally never found anything Miranda Sings did funny. It just wasn't funny. Not only was it not funny, but it was bad. It was actively problematic. It was actively harmful. Firstly, I, like many of you, have learned things about Colleen Ballinger and her Miranda Sings character that I did not know and probably would never have known had none of these allegations come out. But here we are. The first thing, at the genesis of the Miranda Sings character, we have a problem. And the problem is the Miranda Sings character was only ever funny because Colleen Ballinger coded the Miranda Sings character as disabled, meaning Miranda Sings was supposed to appear or present as a disabled person, and that's what made it funny. What makes that even worse, which I did not know, not only is the Miranda Sings character disabled coded, the character is also based off one of Colleen Ballinger's family members. Not only is the Miranda Sings character not funny, offensive, unoriginal, but it is also derivative. Like, she couldn't even be creative when coming up with an offensive character. She couldn't even be offensive on her own. She had to poach that from someone that she observed and knew in the real world, and someone who presumably she had a relationship with. And that's just like at the genesis of the character. That in and of itself should be enough to where, why in the world was she ever able to gain enough steam? But earlier YouTube, people were able to like build platforms off the goofiest stuff imaginable. But in recent days, other things have come out. Other videos that have been posted on the Miranda Sings channel in the past. Other performances that she has done. And I understand and I agree that the allegations against Colleen Ballinger are serious. I believe that they are true, and she should be deplatformed. But my thing is, I don't believe she should have ever had a platform in the first place. And when she did have one, I believe she should have been deplatformed a long time ago, because there was a long road of offensive and terrible things that she did along the way for years that somehow her fans and other people kind of just ignored. Forget the stuff that she's doing in private correspondences or in things that are not publicly shared or things that she's not doing in public performances. What about the things that she's like posting on YouTube or social media herself that are awful? Those, I would argue, are enough to say, yeah, what are we doing? Like Netflix, what are you doing? Why did you give her a show? One of those things is her parody of the huge hit Gangnam Style. We're gonna watch just a little bit of it, as much as we can stomach, because it's really just extremely offensive from the little bit that I've seen. But the part that I did see was like, how did she get away with this? Did people, first of all, did people just genuinely find this hilarious and just think that, I don't know, did people find this funny at some point? I mean, somebody had to find this funny. Like people don't just continue behaving like a jackass without validation, right? Like, there has to be someone in her corner or people on the internet, again, her loyal fans, I'm assuming, were pumping her head up and making her feel like she was putting out good and valuable content. When, like, even, again, we'll watch it, or we'll watch part of it, but even if it wasn't offensive, it's not funny. It's just not funny.
Whoopin' Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Ichi nichi kichi lichi mina mangarani. Tamagotchi uchi gucci linky niki naki.
So the only real word that she has said so far is Tamagotchi. This reminds me of, like, when I was in college, there were a couple guys that were running for student government, and they made a video that was kind of like this, except it was just a video of people talking in English, and then they dubbed it over with gibberish kind of like this and called it like Japanese. And similarly to Colleen Ballinger, they did not see any consequences either. except they didn't like, I don't know, have millions of subscribers on YouTube and get millions of views on a video. Like, it is truly wild to me that you could just make the most garbage content and also have it be racist, and just like that's fine. That's fine. Everyone's okay with that, I guess.
No, Gana Yoshi no. Tamagotchi Panda Express in a nana you in the top sticks and the soy sauce. You got nana monetano and a jello.
So it's not even really like a parody. It's just like Gangnam Style, except the verses are gibberish and her saying like Tamagotchi and Panda Express between other just gibberish words, and then the chorus is just her saying Gangnam Style, like the original song. Again, it's not even like smart comedy. And I'm not sure, can somebody tell me who Miranda Sings' audience was? Because on one hand, I've seen that like she was trying to appeal to children, but on the other hand, she herself was saying that she was trying to appeal to a more mature, maybe like young adult, early or like late teenager, young adult audience. What is her audience? Who is she appealing to? Because this, to me, appeals to maybe middle schoolers in the early 2010s. I mean, that would make sense because that's when this came out. But, like, I don't know. At that time, like, I can't be, like, too super judgmental about smart comedy, because at that time I was watching, like, Julian Smith videos. So I was, like, laughing at, like, Malk. Like, I don't know. Why was this allowed to exist is my question. Why was this allowed to exist? Like, this is just bad.
Sassy lady, whoop, 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 I'm Gangnam Style.
Well, that was the least fun 2.5 minutes I've ever had in my life. So that was one thing. That was 2012, 2013 when that video came out. And again, how at that time people weren't starting to have the conversation of maybe it's time to move away from Miranda Sings, I don't know. Now, I do know that there were a lot of creators at that time that were, again, and I addressed this in my previous video, there were a lot of creators at that time that were being racist or being offensive in some way. So I guess I do understand to some degree how that was allowed to thrive, but man. And then the other incident happened more recently in either 2017 or 2018. It's hard to know because this was published in an unlisted YouTube video that was part of Miranda Sings' diary, which is misspelled. It's spelled like kind of like diarrhea. Again, the Chick-fil-A cow spelling, it's not funny. It's just not funny. It's just not. It's just so annoying to me because it's not funny. It's just not funny. Anyway, and this is a performance of her in what appears to be blackface. Now, her legal team has come out. This is the only allegation that they have actually addressed directly, which kind of is telling because it makes you think that all the other allegations are probably true or have some more merit to them. But I also don't buy their explanation here. I just think that it's a little harder to tell, I guess. And so they're able to kind of give this explanation and we kind of have to go with it. Except we really don't. But it's a performance of her in blackface performing Beyonce's Single Ladies. And again, it has all the Miranda Sings classics. She's singing off beat. She's singing out of tune. She can't dance. She's not performing the correct choreography. Now, here's why I don't buy the explanation from her legal team. Because it appears that she is wearing blackface in the video. And they say that she is actually wearing green makeup, which I am assuming has to do with the music being about single ladies, and so she's like wearing like a beauty mask, right? But here's my problem. There are backup dancers. There's choreography for single ladies, which would require, or you would assume that all the dancers, the other two dancers on stage, would also be single ladies by definition of them being involved in this performance. So then they would also be wearing the green makeup, correct? So I don't buy it for that reason. It makes much more sense that it is blackface because Beyonce is black, but there's nothing that necessitates Beyonce's backup dancers to be black. In the song Single Ladies, one would presume for the integrity of the performance, if you'll allow that language here, that you would want the backup dancers to also be single or to present as single, right? So it doesn't make sense that she would be in like the sleep mask makeup or the beauty mask makeup and her backup dancers would not be. But it would make sense for her to be in blackface and her backup dancers to not be in blackface because, number one, they don't have to be in blackface because Beyonce's backup dancers do not have to be black. And number two, they probably wouldn't want to be in blackface because they don't want to be in blackface. They wouldn't want to be lumped into that with her. So we'll just watch it and we'll see. I gotta tell you, it looks like blackface to me. Regardless, Miranda Sings is a deeply problematic and offensive and racist character derived from an offensive and mean place, and also a deeply unfunny character. And I don't know. There's conflicting parts of me that are both happy that she's finally getting her moment of reckoning where large groups of people are finally starting to realize the kind of person that she always was. And now that not only is that coming out from private correspondences, but now we can tie what we're hearing from people who have dealt with her in private to her public stuff. Because I think part of what her fans especially have excused her for in the past is that, oh, she's just trying to be, again, like edgy or funny, and or there's like some deeper commentary going on. I'm really not sure. I'm not familiar with Miranda Sings fans' defense of her behavior. Maybe someone in the comments can like make me aware of what Miranda fans are saying about why it is that they stuck by her or why it is that they're still sticking by her. I'm not sure what those defenses are. But I think part of it is in the past, people would see those offensive things that she did and either A, wouldn't know if it was a character or not, and so gave her a pass, or B, her fans kind of piled on and made up excuses and said, well, she's not really like that. It's just a character. She's just trying to be edgy. She's just trying to like make a larger commentary about XYZ. I'm not sure. But now that we're seeing all this other stuff come to light, both her inappropriate relationships and conversations with young fans and her racism in private conversations and private interactions that people are experiencing on the set of her show and probably other places. You're kind of seeing that none of this was really a facade at all. It was just kind of an extension of who she was, and she kind of birthed this character to be unabashedly offensive and problematic and mean-spirited, while also kind of like getting to be goofy and for the kids, and like it's just like it's disgusting. Contrary to, if you watch my last video, it was about Aiden Ross, and you know, he's very young still. He started streaming 2K and GTA, and one of the points that I made about him was I don't think that he started streaming 2K to build a community that is now full of like white supremacists and homophobes and misogynists and racists and bigots in general. I don't think that was his goal. I don't know if that's the person that he is or not. Time will tell. And he still has an opportunity to reverse course, and I hope he will. I think time has told the story of who Colleen Ballinger is, and I think it's not good. I think that she has always been a bad faith actor. She has always been a bad person. I think the Miranda Sings character was simply the genesis of her beginning to express that bigotry without really having to take any accountability for it. And so yeah, part of me is happy that she's having her day of reckoning for all the damage that she's done. But a big part of me is sad that she's done all the damage that she's done. Because again, the writing was on the wall from the beginning and people kind of ignored it or just weren't aware of it, and it left a lot of damage in its wake, a lot of unreversible damage. Unfortunately, that's the case with a lot of people. A lot of people who get to these positions of power unwarranted, especially YouTubers for whatever reason, who have reached this level of acclaim and status, almost like unequivocally have ended up being less than upstanding people. So yeah, Miranda Sings, Miranda stinks. Get her out of here. We don't like her. Get her off of YouTube. Get her off the internet. Stop going to her shows. Stop giving her money. See you later. If you made it this far in the video, please like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching. Obviously, I'm back in my house. I'm out of my car. We will be back soon with another video. Again, thank you for watching.